We can compare calculated statistic and the statistic's critical value to determine whether something is statistically significant. So where do these critical values come from? Excel does provide these values, but we can also find them in distribution tables. In statistics, when you need a value like this that's determined on degrees of freedom or the critical value, the acceptable level, you can be certain that there's a large table containing it. So, for example, for a chi-square test, we can use a chi-square table to find the critical value. Now, we haven't covered chi-square yet. That's coming up, but we can still look at this here. We have a chi-square table on the slide. So let's just talk about chi-square with 2 degrees of freedom. How you calculate the degrees of freedom in a chi-square test is the number of rows minus 1 times the number of columns minus 1. So suppose we have a table with 2 rows and 3 columns of data. That'd be 2 minus 1 times 3 minus 1. So the degrees of freedom would be 2. If we use a p-value of 0.05, this is the alpha level that we typically use in research. So if we take those 2 degrees of freedom and a p-value of 0.05, you can see the intersection of them to get the number we're looking for. So we have 0.05 and we have the 2 degrees of freedom. That gives us 5.991. This represents the statistic's critical value. So for a chi-square test with 2 degrees of freedom and a p-value of 0.05, the critical value would be 5.991. And that's just a simple way of how we use this table to find critical values.